Okay, according to the clock, it is 2 o'clock, and we're going to call the meeting to order, the Plant and Equipment Committee regular meeting. For call to order, are there any public or committee comments?
Might want to move your,
No.
you might want to move your microphone down a little. Your microphone down. There you go.
Anybody online? Nope, doesn't appear to be. Okay, so moving on to item 3, the Northwest Transmission Pipeline Replacement Project.
All right, I'll give you an update. We have the contract is signed. We have received the documents as of yesterday. So staff is now contacting, following up with the contractor to get a status on their ordering and parts, and they can start doing their submittals. And we will be scheduling a pre-construction meeting pretty soon. So that's where we're at. Finally got everything all signed and done. And I'll let Ty give an update on the bond proceeds, just for the record.
The bonds closed earlier in March, so we have the money in the trust account with Bank of New York Mellon ready to go. We also have executed the contract with the state for the $3 million. So that is all ready to go too as soon as we can submit invoices as soon as we receive them. So it's all in place.
Good, great news.
So quick question. I should have asked this before, but we're going to complete the Northwest Transmission Pipeline and then work on the contract for Springer to make sure that we have enough funding available over time, or are we going to try to do those concurrently?
I believe the design phase for Springer is going to go concurrently with this project so that once we finish the Northwest Transmission Line, we're ready to start on the Springer line.
Okay, and then we'll have a better certainty of what cost,
Right.
what
The
financing we have for it.
the initial design is done, so we'll be potholing all the crossing utilities and
The initial layout's done.
sending
so,
that,
yeah.
sending that to Krieger, and they'll be able to do the final design.
So we're thinking schedule-wise, sometime late summer, early fall, get done with Northwest and then push on to Springer. Is that sort of
I
tentatively?
think by
we're
the
looking at?
fall, we'll know, that whether we've got, enough funds to go ahead with Springer, and then we can finish up and get it out to bid.
Okay, I like it.
And so-
Fantastic work.
So do we have weekly or bi-weekly or something, regular meetings with Krieger and Stewart where we discuss this type of thing?
We're not with Krieger and Stewart, no. We have weekly engineering and operations meetings internally. If we need to discuss anything with Krieger and
Okay, well,
Stewart,
that's
we
what I'm
will.
concerned about the design aspect of.
Well, at this point, they're waiting for the potholing to occur. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's on board with us. He knows what we're doing and we know what he's doing.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And we've got one observer. Do we have any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, then we'll move on to item 4, the Dune 3 and hometown water consolidations.
Okay, if you remember at the last board meeting, the board voted to continue with the process, knowing the language that will be in those contract documents with the state for the grant funds. So we had a meeting a couple weeks ago for the Dune 3 project, and the State Water Resources Control Board representative mentioned that she thought the state was no longer going to be funding meters. But she could not clarify what she meant by that, whether it was physical meters, whether it was connection fees or not. So we said, well, everything needs to be funded, otherwise we're not going to be able to continue. Please give an update ASAP as soon as you find out. So last week, she got back to us and said that she was incorrect, that they are funding the meters and everything. So we're good. So actually, George and I have a call with her this afternoon after Finance Committee, and we'll be getting an update on moving forward with those projects.
And on top of that, at the last GA meeting, they wanted to give a briefing on what they were going to do with their consolidation funding. And I requested and was granted the opportunity to brief in a few slides at the GA meeting, what we're doing with our consolidation stuff. So I'm going to try to work with them so we have a sort of a joint presentation of the GA that we're working together and we're doing these consolidations and where we're at, and they're doing their consolidation efforts so that we, get the maximum benefit and the public's informed how that's going. So,
Well, I did listen to the GA meeting and I thought I heard a comment like, we're ready to move on, was what I thought I heard Steve Johnson say with regard to the $3.3 million on the consolidation. Do you feel the same way that, I mean, because we are the beneficiary of whatever the consolidation is.
yeah, so I think they seem to be both wanting to cooperate with us and to coordinate with us on how that money is
Okay.
executed. Obviously to the benefit of, the entire valley. So, they're going to
Right,
look at the
right.
project, they're looking at the projects we're doing. And they're going to talk about the projects that they would like to invest their funding into. So hopefully that ultimately leads to, benefits for the entire valley.
Yeah. Well, I was just, when I heard, the words I heard was GA is ready to move on. So that sort of implies that there's been some type of agreement between us and the GA, and I haven't gotten that from,
Yeah, I don't think
Or
we've
sell the house.
I don't think we've had a formal agreement about what we would represent. I think that's gonna probably occur as we discuss the joint presentation that we're putting together. So I think that's
Oh,
probably
okay.
our opportunity to, they've given us some of their ideas. Our staff has looked at it. I think they have some thoughts and recommendations, and I think we were kind of waiting to see, as Renee said, I think we need to firm up where we're at with the state, because there was this sort of, we thought we were going to move forward, and then they had these extra costs they weren't going to fund. And so
Yeah.
we want to get firm on our position with the state. And then we want to talk to the GA and say like, okay, here's what we're doing and there's what they're doing. So I think it's probably best, as Renee said, to wait until we have our next conversation with the state and make sure that we're comfortable moving forward. And then we'll brief the board on Monday about the overall project. Does that sound about right, Renee?
Yes.
yeah, okay, good. One last comment or question. Have we started any discussions with the GA about how we're going to transfer the Dune 3 water allocation over to the water district?
I think that would be up to our lawyers, because that would be perceived as part of the adjudication process. So I think they would probably be likely, I haven't asked the question, but I think they'd be unlikely to want to discuss that because it has implications for what do we think water rights are for Dune 3. So I don't know. I would think that our position should probably be that it is the court's responsibility to figure out what those water rights are and tell us in the adjudication. That would at least be my going in position.
I think in the long term, certainly that's true. In the meantime, as long as the GA is going by the GSP and we have an allocation fee,
Mhm.
and Dune 3 has an allocation, between now and the time the adjudication is finalized, which quite frankly, I was a little bit upset that it sounds like it's been pushed back a little bit now again, based upon the last hearing, because we're not having another hearing until April next year. My feeling is that, and obviously the board's got to act on this, but they owe us whatever the Dune 3 allocation is as soon as we turn their system off and our system on.
Okay, and I think what you're talking about is probably a really good discussion with our legal team.
Oh, yeah,
at
well,
the next
obviously we
meeting. So
got to.
I don't think I can answer that question without getting myself in trouble with the lawyers probably.
Oh, well, as long as they get paid, I think they're just going to have to be happy.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to item number 5, the arsenic treatment facilities update.
We are still, as far as we know, scheduled with Pure Flow to have delivery of the media in the first part of May. And we reached out to Filtronics for an update on when they're delivering. There was a delay for their delivery. They get their media out of Montana. And I guess the recent storm that went through delayed that. So we reached out to them for a confirmation of the date. We have not received word yet. I'm hoping sooner rather than later, and we can get the plants online. But that's right, as of right now, I'm not sure when we're getting the Filtronics media, and Pure Flow is still scheduled for the beginning of May.
Okay, and when are we expecting to get the wells that are not online right now back online?
Are you referring to 17, 30, and 31?
30 and 31, I believe.
So that all depends on the process with the northwest transmission line.
Yes, sir.
If we can get it to Pinto, we have an opportunity to use those wells one at a time and rotate between them. But as far as using all three of them or some sort of subset of that, we have to wait until the pipeline is done.
Okay. But those are the ones that use the arsenic plant, right?
No, the arsenic plant are 9, 10, that's plant 1, and then 11 and 13 is plant 2, or vice versa.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
So then
once
it's
we
not-
get,
there's
once we
really
get
no-
the,
there's no issue then about that at all.
no, it's just a matter of getting the media, getting it installed, and then running through the disinfection process to get them online.
Okay. Well, that's better than I thought. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I learned something. Okay, anybody, no, nothing from the, okay, well, going on to item number 6. Future agenda items. Anybody on the staff have an idea of future agenda items? I guess I would like to keep the issue of transferring the allocation of Dune 3 somewhere. We maybe don't have to put it on the agenda, but we do need to talk with legal to see if they've got an issue. Because legal's always going to have an issue. What we need to do is figure out how we get it, back to the staff, and our staff work with the GA staff without interference from the legal.
Yeah. So,
Because obviously they've got a current allocation.
correct. And
So,
so one of the problems, I was looking at that table today, it's sort of a lump sum, I think, not by individual entity, but more of a just,
a total.
it's just, yeah, so I don't know what
for a
I don't know what their
group
fair
or-
share of the
right.
250
And-
or 350 acre feet allocated to the mutuals is.
Right, and that's why I'm saying is the sooner we get started, it's gonna take, my feeling is it's gonna take the GA a year to figure anything out. So if we don't get started now or soon, they're gonna be online, we're gonna be servicing them with water, and there won't be anything happening. So, so that's about it. Any other comments from the staff? Or anybody on the line, video?
As far as future agenda items,
Or
are you still on future agenda items?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just have some placeholders I'm just keeping on there, just so we don't forget, like the other transmission pipelines, the inspection, the La Mirage area, the Springer Avenue pipeline, and then George had on there at one time, I'm just got a placeholder for the imported pipeline infrastructure upgrades. So just so we don't forget if we ever want to cover those again in the future.
Okay, sounds good. Any last comments? If not, we'll adjourn at 2:14.
All right, Stan, you run a tight meeting. Good
I
job.
think, well, yeah, I think this might be a record. No?